Hello and welcome to another cup of coffee with me, Sandy. You know, I keep showing you my mug and I also keep showing you my earrings that my wonderful, 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 wonderful Gina sends me. And I don't know if you can see it. I sincerely hope you can, because it is a cup of coffee. Where she finds them, I have no idea. But enough of that. I today have got the most magic guest. I have not seen him maybe 10 years, 8 years, I don't know, we'll find out. But he is in the same business as me, but he's a lot younger and he lives far away from the coast. He lives in North Cyprus and he is a long time friend and definitely Mr. Personality of Byrak radio and television in North Cyprus. And he is Gazi, and hello and welcome.
Hello, Sandy. Lovely to see you.
My goodness, how long has it been?
Everything's been good. Everything's fine. You're looking well, I have to say.
Yes. Well, I try, and so are you. But we're both a little bit older. I've got a lot more wrinkles than you've got, but never mind. You are still with Byrak, which is absolutely wonderful. But I want to go back in time. And I want people to know about you. I don't think that you were born in North Cyprus, were you?
No, I wasn't born in North Cyprus. My parents were. They're Turkish Cypriots. But I was actually born in London. So I'm a British Turkish Cypriot.
Okay. And you came to North Cyprus when?
So I was born in 1971 in London, and I did all my education there up to university level. And when I finished university, that was in 1994, we left the UK as a family and came back to North Cyprus. So I've been in North Cyprus since the summer of 94. So it's going to be nearly 29 years.
Gosh, it's a long time.
Long time.
And, I know that in North Cyprus, you've got to do military service. You did your military. And then, if my memory is correct, you went straight to Byrak.
I did, yes. I was very fortunate when I arrived here. A friend of the family was working at Byrak in a different department, in the Turkish program department. And he said, John, if you're looking for a job, they're looking for English-speaking people with a personality to go onto the radio. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I was very lucky that as soon as I finished my very short period of national service in the month of February, March of 1995, I started full-time work at Byrak.
Oh my God, you've been there all these years. And I know that you interviewed me several times, and now the tables have turned because now you're having a cup of coffee with me. But I think that you had a program at some stage, a cup of conversation.
That's right, yes. Up until COVID, up until 2020, I was presenting a TV program in the studios, similar to what you're doing now, but in the Byrak TV studios, with a guest or two in the studio with me. And yes, I was presenting a cup of conversation. So very similar name. I love your name, the name of your show, Sandy. It's fantastic. But yes, unfortunately, I have stopped doing that now because of COVID. We couldn't obviously have guests in during that time, during lockdown. And then after that, things just got really haywire. And so I decided to take a break. I'm now concentrating more on the radio side of things at BRTK.
Okay. And tell me, again, this goes back memory time. You had shows of Feedback Friday.
That's a very recent one now. Okay. That only started last Friday.
Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah, that's a new one. That's my latest radio program. Okay. I presented many programs over the years on the radio, different programs. But this Feedback Friday that you saw that I advertised last week, yes, that's a very new program. Just began this month, in fact.
And tell me about it.
Right. So really what we want to do on the radio is try and get more interaction with our listeners. Because as you know, North Cyprus is a very small country with lots and lots of lovely people like yourself who used to live here, expats and other people from around the world, from different countries coming to live in Cyprus. And it's nice to have interaction with them via social media. However, it's just like messages and hellos and have a great day. I decided with my friends, my colleagues at work, with my boss as well, that it would be nice to sort of have a more not serious, but a more interactive program where people, if they wanted to, could send me sound bites and I could then air them on the radio so you could actually hear your own voice. So it's not me just reading out your message that you've given me, but actually having your voice heard about various topics. It could be to do with the day of the month of the year. It could be a special day. It could be something that's topical, that's current affairs on the island or around the world. So yes, every week it'll be a different topic, hopefully.
Well, I know that there was one that you did. I don't know if you're still doing it, which was Northern Exposure. Am I correct?
I am still doing that.
Now, that one was really, please explain that one to my viewers, because that I think is wonderful.
Well, thank you very much for your compliments there, Sandy. Now, actually, that is my longest running program and one of the longest running programs on our radio station. Now, back in 1996, my boss at the time, Mr. Haluk Aygun, he had a connection with the Ministry of Tourism here in the TRNC, and they wanted to do a program where we were promoting the island to the expat community and to the tourists who were coming over during the summer or throughout the whole year. So we decided to call it Northern Exposure, and I present this program with a colleague of mine. Her name is Fatosh Baikal, and we decided it was going to be like a one-off thing, like just maybe one summer or one period, one season of our radio station. And we were going to talk about the island, what events were happening, give out a bit of the history, the geography. And that was actually launched on 27th of September, which is actually World Tourism Day. And that was in 1996. And we've been doing it ever since. Every day of the working week, every day, Monday to Friday. We present this program. It's pre-recorded. It's not live on the radio, but we get lots of feedback from our listeners. We try to promote, and it's actually changed. Obviously, over the years, it's evolved. And we now have more interaction with our listeners, where they send us information about what's going on, especially when it comes to charity work, Sandy. As you know, here in the charity, and that's how you and I met, I believe, all those years ago, because of the 112.
Yes,
the popular name for the wonderful group of people led by the late Terry Carter, who were working around the clock to raise money for the ambulance service here, wasn't it? That's how we met, I think, many years ago.
That's how we met, because Terry approached me, and he had been working in England with 112 up in north somewhere. And we went along. Obviously, we were trying to raise money, but the money that we did raise and the times that Terry went back to the UK and came back, I went with him to various little hospitals outside of Kyrenia and gave them equipment. I mean, little scissors and things that you wouldn't actually believe that they didn't have at that time. And I remember one doctor just bursting into tears that they were given this because they did not have it at the time. And if my memory is correct, with the money that we raised with 112, we fitted out 12 ambulances.
Amazing work that you've done. I mean, that began many years ago with the late Terry Carter, and things like what the expat and the local community do here for charity. It could be for the 112, it could be for cancer charities, it could be for children charities, or even animal charities. So what we do now on Northern Exposure is try and share what's going on in the community, social, cultural, and charity events. Sometimes we have interviews with people who want to come in and talk about the event themselves, which makes it more effective to the listeners. But yes, I'm very proud of Northern Exposure because we've been continuing this program for many years, and it's just amazing how it's grown. And we didn't think that we'd continue working together all these years, Fatosh and myself, but we really enjoy it. And the feedback we get from our listeners is so positive that we're going to continue until, I don't know, the last day that we work at the BRTK, until we retire.
I want to tell you that definitely was your baby.
Yes. I mean, Fatosh and I, it was a baby of the whole section. Like I said, the boss at the time, Haluk Aygun, with the Ministry of Tourism, which was led then by the Minister, Serdar Denktash, son of late Ralph Wright Denktash, our very first founding president. Serdar Denktash was the minister at the time. So with him, in collaboration with him, he said, let's do this program and promote Northern Cyprus. They let's say, gave the spark, and the flames are still puffing away all these years ago, all these years later. We're still continuing. We're still flying the flag for Cyprus, small Cyprus.
I think it's quite wonderful. But you've got other radio programs as well, weekend programs. Do you still have them?
Yes, I do. I do a weekend breakfast show. That's every Saturday and Sunday between 8 and 10 a.m. And so that's also something that keeps me occupied over the week. And also, despite all of that, all the different radio programs that I do, I also help to promote and manage and produce other programs for other DJs. So it's a very full schedule at BRTK for everyone.
I want to tell you, you are working virtually 7 days a week.
Nearly.
And your son is growing up. Do you think he's going to follow Dad's footsteps?
Funny enough, I mean, he is 13 now, and he's coming towards the end of middle school. So he'll be taking options later this year. He'll be starting high school and maybe doing GCSEs in a couple of years' time, a year or two. And I'm saying to him, what do you want to do when you grow up, when you leave school? And funny enough, he's saying things like, well, actually, I want to be an actor. And not that I'm an actor, but obviously it's something similar to what I do. He knows that I'm on the radio. He's been to the radio many times. He's not shy of speaking in the microphone. He's been put on the spot by myself and my other DJ friends, making him read out little jingles or speak live on air. So he's used to the microphone. But I don't know. He wants to be an actor, but that's just a 13-year-old boy's whim at the moment. We'll see what happens.
I hope that he gets his dream. Is there an acting group now in North Cyprus?
Well, at school, he's got his own drama club that he goes to. There's a drama club at school. But as you know, there's Kyrenia Amateur Dramatic Society, which is still going strong, which is a very, very old group of expats and locals here, TRNC citizens and expats, who come together and they produce plays and shows. We even do radio plays as well with them. So that's another thing that I'm part of. When they come in, I produce the play with them. So yes, there's lots of opportunities for acting here if he wants to in the future.
And are you writing as well?
So what was that again?
Are you writing as well?
Writing?
Yeah. Are you doing any writing as well as producing and presenting?
No, I used to write voluntarily for a couple of publications here in Northern Cyprus, but things come and go, things change, times change. So at the moment, I'm not writing for anyone. I'm just busy producing my radio program. So that's keeping me very, very busy at the moment.
Okay. And you've been there a very long time. You've seen lots of changes. I want you please to send my love to Engin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Engin, yes, Engin, yeah.
He's here. Is he still in the station, at the station?
Yes, he is. He's doing a TV program. He's also been presenting on television for quite a few years. He's got a program called Vox Pop, and he goes out filming, which I used to do years ago when I had a program called Places and Faces, if you remember that.
Yes.
I was actually filming on location, interviewing people as and when events happened. Then I did, obviously, a couple of conversations in the studio, but Engin is now the guy who goes out and about interviewing people around the island. So, yeah, he's very busy at the moment as well. So I'll give my regards from you to him.
Please, if he remembers me, I mean, this mad fool that came there and started doing things and whatever. And now your Feedback Friday, it started last week. It's going to be every Friday. And
that's right.
How do the sound bites come through when people send messages to you? Because I don't know how that works. Can you enlighten me?
Okay, so really it's a cheating way at the moment because it's a very new program and we don't have the best technology when it comes to sending sound bites. Obviously, if you have WhatsApp on your phone, you can send a message to me, read into the phone and then send that message to me. I can then download that message and put it onto the system. But a lot of the people who are listeners don't use WhatsApp. They use, like you and I, Messenger on Facebook. So again, you can send a message there, although it's a bit more difficult for me to download. I can't download actually on Messenger. You can't really, there's no sort of way to download or send to an email. So what I do is it's on my phone, obviously. I then take the phone to the mic in the studio and record it that way. So I'm playing your message and down the mic and recording it in the studios, and then I can edit it how I want. So it's a bit of a cheeky way, not a very professional way of doing it, but it's the way that I began last week, and it worked well.
I don't think it's a cheating way. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I don't have that sort of equipment, and I would love to be doing it. I don't think I've got the time, but never mind, because I only work in the winter months. In the summer months, I'm still a beach bum, and so it's only the winter months that I do programs. But I think that's a wonderful way of doing things. And okay, so that's new. What else have you got in your head, running around in your head, that you still want to do at the station that you haven't yet achieved?
That's a very good question, Sandy. Very good question. Over the years, I've done so much. It's so difficult to be new and fresh. Obviously, because things change over the years. I mean, if I go back in time a little bit, when I first started at BRTK in 94, 95, we didn't have the internet then, and we didn't have the technology. For instance, our mobile phones, we didn't have mobile phones until later on. And so our radio station for the youngsters and for many people were the only way that they could hear new music. And also they requested by telephone. So we used to have telephone requests, and we were busy in the studio. As soon as we put the phone down, the phone would ring again for another request. We were really busy. But over time, as you have seen also, I'm sure, radio has sort of died down. People get their music from the internet, from YouTube, from Spotify, from their telephones. People don't use the landline anymore. We've all got our mobile phones. So we've gone to social media now. So we get messages via social media, which is good, but that only limits you to those who are on social media. If you're not on social media, but you can hear us on the radio, how do you get in contact with us? So it's a bit of a difficult situation. So when it comes to what I want to do in the future, this Feedback Friday is the start of something that I want to do on a bigger scale, maybe, where I have more interaction, maybe live chat between people, like link them up on the telephone and say, right, we've got a topic today. What do you think about this? And then you speak, I speak, somebody else will join us and say, can we do that? But technically, that's a bit difficult. But that's where I want to go, have more interaction and get people to really listen to the radio and say, yeah, I want to participate, and, not just tune in and just sit there and listen. I want you to join me in my chat. So that's something that is in my mind for the next few months, or even next few years. Who knows? Well,
I think that is something that if you were using Zoom, that is the kind of Zoom discussion, conversation that is possible. But I don't know how many people there, and I don't know how it would work. But I think that your thoughts over the years have all been so new and so lively. And we must not forget that North Cyprus is a very, very little country. And it hasn't got, or I don't know, maybe it's changed, but I don't think it is as connected with all the situations that we've got with any other country in as far as internet. I don't know how strong the internet is. I don't know any of this, and I don't know what is possible. But from what I can see, you have progressed, and you've seen how you can, what is needed, how you can do it in the best way without the connections that any other country has got. And for that, I really take my hat off to you, because I think that's a good one. Now, tell me lastly, a couple of things. When you retire one day.
When do I retire?
When you retire, what do you want to do?
Well, that's actually something that's maybe possible in 3 or 4 years' time, but I won't retire. I look young, maybe. I might look young. Very. But I actually gain retirement when I'm 55, which is in about 4 years' time, 3-4 years' time. But I won't retire at 55. I'll say until I'm 60. So there's another few more years added onto that. But when I do retire, hopefully, and when my son is off to university then as well, hopefully I will be with my lovely wife, maybe enjoying retirement in North Cyprus, going to different places. But I want to travel the world as well a little bit. I want to actually get out and about and experience some different countries with my wife, because she hasn't really traveled a lot either. We've gone to different places together, but not as much as we could do. So I would love to maybe take the opportunity to, as we're in the middle of the Mediterranean, we're near so many different European countries, maybe to go to different places in Europe, to travel around the world. But I would love to travel, but that's still a little bit further down the road, because I have to get my son on his feet, on his own 2 feet first before I do anything like that.
Now, on a very serious note, which maybe we shouldn't even discuss, the situation with Turkey and the terrible I don't even know what to call it. What do I want to say about it? The earthquake took lives, took so many lives.
Yeah.
How has that affected North Cyprus and Turkey?
It's been terrible, Sally. We've just come out of a really long period of mourning. I've never seen anything like it here in North Cyprus. As you might know, the devastating earthquakes of February the 6th, which is just over a month ago now, shook us all. Not literally, because I actually was sleeping through it. Although people here were woken by the tremors, I actually was sleeping because it was quite early in the morning for us here. And but the sad thing about it was, and if you've been following the news, was the news about the youngsters, the young volleyball players, the 2 teams of youngsters who were from the Gazi College in the Gazi area. They were actually in a hotel that collapsed immediately. And unfortunately, we lost the boys team, the girls team, the coaches, some teachers and some parents. Around 35 just in that group alone. And it's been absolutely devastating. We had to slow down the radio station, all the radio stations on our island just went down into slow mode, just giving out news only, no entertainment, no music programs, just news programs. We went slow music, and this lasted until the 28th of February. So it's been the longest ever period of mourning. It was unbelievable. We were hoping so much that the kids would be found alive, but it wasn't to be. And it was just it was like a shock. No one was expecting anything like this at all. And that shock has now turned to anger, because the families want justice, because apparently the hotel in Turkey that collapsed in Adıyaman, that was the area where they were staying, it wasn't a very safe hotel. It didn't actually have permits beforehand, and it collapsed. So now they're trying to find and sue everyone behind, whoever signed the papers to make to allow the building to be used. There's now going to be lots of legal processes going on, not just for that hotel, but for many buildings in Turkey. But this particular story has affected the whole island because of the fact that it's just such a tragic thing for the youngsters. When the youngsters are involved, and such a big number as well. It's unbelievable, Sandy, unbelievable.
And such a big group and so many families now on the island are crying. And
yes,
really, no matter how much money they may get or whatever happens when they sue or whatever, you cannot bring the families back. It's gone. You have just you've lost your bloodlines.
Of course. It was so devastating for the whole families, and to watch and to wait every day the first few days after the earthquakes. We were all watching, glued to the TVs, hoping and praying. And of course, our services here, all the men and women working for the Civil Defence Service, they all went and tried to help in the in the rubble. It was just rubble, basically, nothing left at all. But then day by day, bad news started to arrive. They were starting to find bodies, and we knew that it was just impossible to find anyone alive. But because they're so young, and for me personally, most of them were the same age as my son. They were like 12, 13, 14-year-olds. And so you just think to yourself, my God, it could happen to anyone, because it was in the February break. So there was no school. Everyone was having a break from school. It was like a half term or a break between two terms. And so everyone was happy. The kids went off to play their tournaments, and they were going to be champions. They were looking forward to they won. Both teams, the boys team and the girls team, had played on the Sunday, their first games, and they'd both won. And they went to bed that night, and of course, that was it. They never to wake up again. So they are now the champion angels. That's what they are known as. They'll always be remembered. But it was just such a devastating thing, Sandy. It's unbelievable, really.
Oh, I'm sorry for us to be ending on such a sad note, but
yeah,
I've got two things that I want to say to you. It has been a joy and a pleasure to catch up with you after all these years. And even before your son goes to university, why don't you as a family come and visit us in Spain? You would be so welcome here.
I'd love to.
Give it a thought.
I'd love to.
But in the meantime, I say to you, lots and lots and lots of luck with the new program, Feedback Friday. And
Thank you.
Never can tell. This little one may be phoning up and putting a message through to somebody that I may know there. And you'll hear the voice and you'll think, I know that voice. That's the mad woman from Spain.
You're not a mad woman. You're a lovely lady, Sandy. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. Lovely to see your smiling face. You've given me positive energy. And sorry about the sad note, the sad ending to our conversation. But at the moment, as you understand, that's what's been on our mind. That will be on our minds for a long, long time. Things will never be the same again. You can never forget so easily. But thank you for bringing a smile to my face and making me go down memory lane with you. I hope that one day you might come back to Northern Cyprus for a visit.
I will be coming back. I want to come and see what Kyrenia looks like. And I want to see what the island looks like. So when I come, before I come, I know that I will contact you and say, I'm coming, get yourself ready, I'm coming. I want to see what's new. Spend a day with me, show me around. But in the meantime,
definitely.
I say, thank you, take care, God bless, and be well. And to my viewers, I say, this has been, for me, a very wonderful, warm, wonderful cup of coffee with a dear friend. I was going to say old, but he's not old. It's just me. I never know who I'm going to have next time. But in the meantime, I say, take care, look after yourselves, and until we see each other again, I say, bye-bye for now. And to you, I say,
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.